Hey, what's up guys? I'm Looseie and welcome back to the channel. And today we're going to be doing our full-blown review on Sword of Legends Online. And I'm very surprised, and I think you guys will be too. So without any further ado, let's just jump right in. Alright, so let's just jump right into the cash shop. Now, other than your initial purchase of the game, you will not have to spend a single penny on the game. They have added in a battle pass after the first week it was launched, and there's a few things in there, but from the free version of the battle pass is what you get, everyone gets. As long as you play the game, you'll get those 2 pieces of gear. Well, 4 pieces technically. Anyway, other than that, there is zero pay to win in the cash shop. Yes, the cash shop is big, as you can see. There's a lot of stuff, there's a lot of cosmetics. However, none of it affects gameplay. None of it's going to give you an advantage over somebody else. And if they stay like this is going to be probably the least pay to win game that I've played in the better part of 10 years when it comes to the cash shop. You know, like I said, there's just, all there really is that first initial barrier of entry just to buy the game, you know, buy to play. And then anything else you want from that moment on is only going to be cosmetic. There's no inventory to worry about. There's no weight limit to worry about. There's no crafting bags to worry about. There's no chest to upgrade your house so you can hold more of this. None of those mechanics. Someone else calls them parasitic mechanics. I just call them just, you don't like your players mechanics. But anyway, that's another topic for another day. But cash shop, man, such a breath of fresh air. It's amazing, honestly. Alright guys, now when it comes to PvE, I have to say this is probably the longest section because there is just a lot of things that you can do. First off, you have your traditional tank, healer, DPS roles in this game. So when it comes to dungeons, one thing they've done a little bit different that I really enjoy is that the average dungeon group, at least when you use the LFG tool or the looking for group tool, it's a 10-man group. Now, you can run all the dungeons in their normal, well, I guess the practice, but no point, the normal and the hard versions starting with 5 people. And then it will scale up to 10. So you can have 2 healers, 1 tank, 8 DPS, which is what 7 DPS, which is what most groups do. And the same thing with the raids. They start at 10 though, and when they just introduced Jean Jade Palace, I don't know how you say it, and it's a 10 to 20 man raid. So you need to have at least 10 to go in there. And obviously it scales just like the dungeons do. And that's a 6 boss raid. So we have 6 dungeons, 1 raid. They did just introduce 2 new solo boss raids, and hopefully I'll get to do that this week. That'll be really fun. I hope it's kind of like Megtherodon or something. You know, it was just 1 boss, but it was a cool, you know, longish dungeon. So I'll get to see that hopefully today. Alright guys, now among all the dungeons and the raids and the other things, you also have the Akan banner, which is kind of like this, it's like a little solo boss that you can do alone, or some of them you do require a group and you can do it with a few friends. And there's a soul journey, which basically, as you see on screen, it takes the world, just a normal map you're on, and it turns it into like this kind of like, I don't know, like Ghost World or something, right? And it's the same map. It's just there's only a few enemies on it, and it's kind of like these little ghost enemies. And these are different faction grinds that you do also, and you get items, talismans, and stuff from that as well. So a lot of this prestige things that you have, if some of you guys remember maybe older games where you had to reputation grind, there's a reputation grind just about every single thing here in the game. So you're going to be spending a lot of time doing that too. So, and then aside from just the dungeons and the raids, along with the crafting, you have crafting, gathering, fishing, and then treasure hunting. So with those 4 other activities, you're going to stay pretty busy. However, those activities are also time gated as well. And I don't know if all this time gating is so we just progress a little bit slower than they intend, or than I think some of us can progress, and they're trying to keep the level playing field as the beginning launch of the game. Who knows? Alright guys, now you also have these things called biographies, and you're gonna have to, it's like mini stories in the story, and you actually get to go to some pretty cool places. And as you do some of them, you get to unlock other ones, and some achievements are actually locked behind this biography. So There's going to be, it's going to be like a story inside the story, and I know you don't really want to hear that, but they're usually a lot quicker than some of your story missions. And as you can see, you do different things, and you can go into your achievement window, and then you can see what you need and what you have to do to get those next steps done. And then after the biographies, you also have their little card game, which is the Game of Eternity. Now, I'd be lying if I told you guys I knew what I was doing. I literally just click faces and swords and just try to make stuff, you know, click together, whatever's highlighted, because everything's still in Chinese, so I have no idea what any of the things say. I don't know what they mean. I'm just, as you can see on screen, I'm just playing against the computer opponent right here, or the Dragon Star, and they move really quickly, you know, when they go for their turn. So it's something else to, you know, that gives you a little kind of like, you can relax. You can also play with any other player on the server too. You can play a card game against them. So there's and Leisureland, which we'll touch on that in the grind section, which is a whole like little extra part for you to just kind of relax. You don't really play your character normally. You're kind of transformed into something else, like a little cute bear or something, or a little fox, and you drop bombs and blow stuff up. So there's a lot of different things when it comes to PvE here. You have serious content, and then you have more stuff like this, which is just kind of, you know, time-killing content, but it's nice. Alright guys, now when it comes to PvP, I have to say that it's not that bad. It's not the best, but it's not that bad at all. Now you have to keep in mind that we're getting a more vanilla version of the game here, and obviously the Chinese version is a few years ahead of us, so some of these balance patches, or balance issues I should say, have been taken care of in later patches. However, other than just a few things that, I mean, and you're gonna have that in any game, guys. Let's just be honest. You'll never have balanced PvP. It doesn't exist. Once you introduce the human element, balance is thrown out the window, because you never know what the human element is gonna do to make something unbalanced. So, with that being said, there are a few things that are kind of like, I'm just gonna have to say it, the damn bards and they're freezing, but I think that things of this nature are going to get a little bit better. I mean, there's always some class in every game that just has some kind of aggravating mechanics to get around no matter what, especially in player versus player environments. Now, they did add something new for our version of the game called Faction, and as you can see on the screen right now, I have the players hidden, and I'm going to tell you why. The performance in this part of the game, in all honesty, it's really bad. I mean, it shits for about 90% of the player base. And you got to keep in mind the engine that it's on. Yes, UE4 will be rolling out. We'll probably get it hopefully sometime next year. And a lot of these performance issues should be taken care of. However, right now, as you can see on screen, that's with characters hidden. I could have turned some graphics setting down a little bit lower to get better frames, but at some point, if I have to play a game that's literally RGB, and that's the only three colors on the screen I see, it's way beyond, you know, oh, my machine, or whatever machine somebody's playing on. So anyway, keep that in mind. Frame rates and performance is gonna suffer in Faction. Now, aside from Faction, you have Battlegrounds, which are 10v10 and 15v15, and you can queue up that for the majority of the day. The time-gated shit is ridiculous. Get rid of time gating. Jesus, what the fuck, man? I'm sorry. And anyway, the next part, you can do a 3v3. There's a 3v3 arena mode, and there's also a 5v5 arena mode. And those are more competitive, and there's a ranking system. There's a ranking system for just about everything in the game. Those modes are a little bit more competitive. You know, so you can get Bronze League, Diamond League. They have higher leagues, and you can get higher gear. Right now, 70 is the max for PvP gear, and currently, you can either get that through doing a bunch and weeks and weeks and weeks of waiting for Dragon Cry, your PvP battle ranking to go up, or, oh, I'm glad I brought that up. And speaking of battle rank, what the battle rank is, it's account-wide shared. So you can PvP the most on one character, if that's the one you enjoy doing it on, and you can still get the battle ranking on your entire account. Now, you'll still have to go do some matches on your other accounts, or I'm sorry, your other tunes, but you'll at least you'll have the gear unlocked, so you won't have to go through the weeks of waiting for your battle cry ranking to go up. And it does. It resets every Thursday, and there's a cap on everything in this game. So even not just the time gate, but there's also a weekly cap on everything that you can get. So I just say remove the time gating since you already have mechanics in there. You're never going to stop people from cheating and boosting, so don't. God damn it, man. The one thing that fucking developers need to get and take to the head is that when you have a cheating problem, you never punish the rest of the players for it. You're always going to have cheaters in the game. Don't punish the rest of the players for it. Jesus. Get that through your fucking heads. Anyway, aside from that, I find that the PvP, it's very, to me, I enjoy it. It's pretty good. I got a few different characters. I do PvP on the Reaper and the Blade Slinger, and I will say that being melee is really rough right now. But aside from some of those, again, things that you're gonna find in other games, it's a pretty good system right now. And when they reintroduce these, introduce these characters to us, it was a reintroduction in China. Yeah, of course, the meta is going to change as we get more patches, we get more content. I know that the PvP will expand, and let's hope they only make it better from here on out. Alright guys, now when it comes to the grinding aspects of how we're scoring this game, it was kind of weird because there's a lot of time gating, and I'm sure you're probably getting sick of hearing me say that throughout the video, but there's a lot of time gating here. Meaning everything in the game is time gated in some way, shape, or form. And even when it comes down to fishing, you have your daily account fishing holes, that the little blue ones that you can go fish at, and then you have the everyone fishing hole, which is the golden fishing hole, and they respawn like every 90 minutes or so, and only one person can fish from it. So it makes it really difficult right now to get fish that you need to, say, make the purple food or the best in slot food right now, or even if you're going around and you're gathering and you're trying to get some crystals or a certain fire sand crystal, and it's just impossible to find them because they literally only spawn in 2 places in the game. And I mean, you have thousands of people all trying to get the same node. So I'm not really sure I don't know if they can tweak that system somehow. I like it, but I dislike some of it at the same time. It's a good and bad thing. It slows progression down to where you can't just farm all day long and then just get a whole bunch of money and yada yada yada. But sometimes it's, you know, some people want to go for an hour and go mining, and you don't want to spend 50 minutes of that hour just searching for nodes or chasing other people or fighting other people that are also doing the same thing. So yeah, you can flag up for faction and kill them if you want to, or you can go on rampage mode, but I mean, really, you're gonna suffer that just to get a Ascension stone? It's just not worth it. So everything about the game has it seems at first that there's a high grind because of all the different things that you have. I mean, you have just about, like I said earlier in one of the sections, almost everything in this game has a ranking for it, and it's called the Dragon Star list. And this is what you're going to find yourself, if you're competitive, looking at all the time. And then on a daily basis, you'll be looking at the cultivation menu. And at first, it does seem overwhelming. You're like, holy crap, there's a bunch of shit to do here. But unfortunately, once you get a hold of it, you hit student 1, you start doing a few dailies, you're like, you know what? It's not as much as it seems. So you can get a lot of it done relatively quickly, and that gives you other, free time to go back and do other things or start a new tune. And just like you'd expect from a non-pay-to-win title here, it's amazing it's not pay-to-win. You have a character slot for every character class in the game. So right now there's 6 classes, so you have 6 character slots, so you can play every single class. And with the cross-account mechanics, it really makes it easy, especially when it comes to housing and stuff like that, or PvP rank, like I mentioned before. You can enjoy the game on the character that you enjoy the most, but still play and stay relevant on your alternate characters without having to put in the exact same amount of time and effort to get to where that main character was. Basically, you have one, your top character, and then some of the things that he gets and unlocks can trickle down to the other characters. And housing is another one of the things that trickles down from other characters, thankfully, because that would be ridiculous to make a house on every tune. That would just be too much. And the housing is where I've been spending a lot of my time. My house is rank 8, or I'm on the way to rank 8 right now to get it to level 8. So I get my private fishing hole. but this is going to be a huge time sink for you. It's going to be a huge money sink if you enjoy stuff like this. I have to say the housing system, this is one of the best I've ever seen. It reminds me of the Rift housing system, which I thought was absolutely excellent. And just like in Rift, you can enlarge and shrink things in this housing system. So it's really great. You have a freehand option. And I think people just enjoy that kind of thing. I think housing's great. And they do have a good system. And it is instanced. It's like 18 houses at once. And then you go to kind of the same instance over again. But I think it's done very, very nicely. And of course, everything that you do, you collect all your materials and stuff, is done on that house. And there's even mechanics put in to make you want to go visit other houses. Because you add soul force into their crops and to help their crops grow. And you get a little bit of crops in return for helping that out. And that you can do that 10 times a day, or you can soul force all day long, but you can only get rewards 10 times a day. So it even rewards you for going to somebody else's house, taking a look around, and be like, oh, your crops need a little watering. Bam, give them some little, extra juice. So it's the grind. It's kind of weird. At some point, it seems high, and then because of the time gating through all the weekly stuff, your dungeons, your hard dungeons, you can only get loot once a week. The raids, you can only get loot once a week. You can go back and do them again. You just can't get loot anymore. So, I mean, just about everything in the game is time gated. Even the PvP rank, it doesn't matter if you get 2,000 combat spirit in one day. I mean, 200,000 in one day. You're only going to go up maybe one rank, depending on how high you are. There's even a limit on how many ranks you can go up during the week. Now, the only thing that doesn't seem to have a limit like that would be the 3v3 or the 5v5 arena teams. But there is weekly caps on everything that you can get, all the completions and all the things you can get. So there's a lot going on here. There's a lot going on in the game. It is kind of overwhelming at first, but I have to say the packages, it's done really well. And the grind, it's there, but you're not going to feel it like you would, say, a BDO or an Aeon Classic grind type scenario. And when I say Aeon Classic, I mean the real Aeon Classic, not Aeon relaunched, whatever. So yeah, not that bad. Alright guys, so when it comes to Sword Art Legends, my final thoughts are as follows. I think it's a pretty solid game all the way around. You have a lot of PvE content, you have a good bit of PvP content. There's a lot of different things for you to do as far as like Leisureland. And then let's just go to the combat for a second, because I didn't really, I guess, touch on that too much. It is that tab target and kind of action hybrid combat system, kind of similar to Guild Wars 2, but I think Swords of Legends does it better than Guild Wars 2. If you enjoyed Blade and Soul, you enjoyed Age of Wushu, Revelation Online, even Final Fantasy XIV, if you enjoy that for the aesthetic quality, you'll definitely like this game. I mean, it's much more fast-paced than Final Fantasy is. So, with all that being said, if you guys are on the fence, I think you should give it a try. I'm enjoying the hell out of the game right now. I think it's very good, being that I'm going to go ahead and say that there's zero pay to win. And I know some people that might turn them off, but I think that's the better thing, to have just no pay to win. So that's one of this game's biggest selling points to me right now, is that there's absolutely nothing. I mean, nothing. There's nothing you can do with real life money that's going to put you ahead in the game. Alright guys, I hope you found the information useful, and if you did, please make sure to thumbs up and subscribe, leave a comment down below, and until next time, I'll see y'all later.